Hello and welcome. Today we will be looking at baby loss and infertility. The aims for today's webinar include: what is infertility, exploring baby loss, ectopic pregnancy, miscarriage after fertility treatment, 5 stages of grief, and managing grief. Infertility is generally defined as a condition of the reproductive system that inhibits or prevents conception after at least 1 year of unprotected sexual intercourse. To account for the natural decline of fertility with age, the time frame is reduced to 6 months for women 35 and over. Infertility can affect both men and women, despite the common misconception that infertility is a woman's condition. Infertility in men may be caused by testicular or ejaculatory dysfunction, hormonal disorders, or genetic disorders. In women, infertility may be caused by disrupted functionings of the ovaries, such as with polycystic ovary syndrome, blocked fallopian tubes, or any uterine abnormalities, such as the presence of fibroids. Each fertility story is unique. There is no one-size-fits-all solution when it comes to helping women and couples work through their fertility grief. The obvious loss from a death of a loved one usually includes rituals and social support. The invisibility of infertility makes it difficult to identify these losses, often leaving the women affected by these losses to deal with them in silence and isolation. Counselling can help clients to find the vocabulary to articulate the losses they are grieving, give a voice to what is needed from the people around them, and create ways to process their grief in a warm and non-judgmental atmosphere. Baby loss may be caused by anatomical reasons, such as if your cervix, the bottom of your uterus, is weak, it may start to open too early and cause a miscarriage. If your uterus is in irregular shape, there may not be enough room for the baby to grow. Or if you have large fibroids, the harmless growths that grow in the uterus, and this may lead to miscarriage later in pregnancy. An ectopic pregnancy happens when the embryo starts to grow in the wrong place. The word ectopic means out of place. Around 1 in 100 pregnancies in the UK is ectopic, and it can happen whether you conceive naturally or after fertility treatment. Most ectopic pregnancies develop in one of the fallopian tubes that join the womb to the ovaries. If the pregnancy continues to grow, it can stretch the tube until it bursts, and this can be dangerous. It is often not clear why an ectopic pregnancy happens, but the 2 main causes are some operations or conditions like appendicitis or pelvic inflammation can damage the tubes by causing scarring. There could also be problems with the walls of the tubes, where tiny hairs that would normally waft the fertilised egg into the womb. Any delay in the egg's progression means that it might still be in the tube when it is ready to implant. Minor infections like coughs and colds are harmless, but a very high fever and some illnesses may cause miscarriage. If undergoing fertility treatment, there is a higher chance you might have a miscarriage. This is not because of the treatment itself, but because women who have had fertility treatment are often older, and this increases the chance of miscarriage. Some fertility problems can also increase the risk of miscarriage. Women who have fertility treatment often know they are pregnant very early on, so they will be more aware than most that they have had an early miscarriage. The combination of miscarriage and infertility can be very difficult to bear. Everyone reacts differently, and there is no right or wrong way to feel or to deal with what has happened. Here's where we take a look at the 5 stages of grief, starting with denial. For example, after a diagnosis of infertility, a person might not believe it, think that it was a lab error, or simply the doctor was wrong. Individuals may become angry if they've experienced an unexpected pregnancy loss or a diagnosis of infertility. Why me? This is outrageous, unfair. The individual experienced this stage because they have realised they cannot continue with the denial. And then they walk through the bargaining phase. Individuals often attempt to do everything right to get pregnant. People will read everything on conception, they'll change their diet and lifestyle dramatically with the bargaining or magical thinking mentality. And then we have depression. In this phase, individuals might become increasingly isolated, refuse to see visitors, and often spend a lot of time crying and grieving. This is then followed by acceptance. This phase is where infertile people start to reclaim their lives. They may start to say things like they know they will be a mother and father at some point and than they had originally hoped for. Now we can look at ways of helping individuals to manage their grief. Journaling can be a very good way of expressing feelings that people may not feel comfortable to share with others. Journaling can avoid holding emotions that can often extend the grieving process or even lead to other physical and emotional problems. Journaling is a good way to express and hopefully purge the anger and/or rage that an individual may be feeling. It is often helpful to write a letter to the baby you had hoped for but have not been able to have yet. Sometimes people find it helpful to name their baby, even if it's a name that they don't share with anyone, or if it's a spiritual or natural name. It can often be cathartic to write a letter to the genetic child you had hoped and dreamed of having. Some people put together an infertility altar, collecting fertility symbols, pictures, lab results, a one-time pregnancy test, poems, and they attend to these daily with pictures and candles, often meditating in front of the altar. It's a place where they feel safe and balanced, a haven amidst all the chaos, uncertainty of infertility. And sometimes infertile couples and individuals take to gardening during their fertility journey. Individuals report that there is something healing about planting seeds, working at one with the earth, and watching life emerge. Thank you for your attention today.